feet. Yeah. Welcome back. I'm Jeffrey Allmen, yoga teacher, meditation guide, mindfulness coach. This is part of my yoga on and off the mat series. So thank you for being here. Today we're going to talk about feet. Feet. Yeah. We all have them. Too many of us neglect them. Normally, once you get into yoga, you'll find that you really want to take care of your feet. They're a big part of doing yoga. Maybe you've just gotten into yoga and you've noticed that you've had some limitations with balance, or maybe just foot pain in general. Generally, most of us live with our feet inside of shoes. So today we're going to work on restorative foot yoga, or yoga therapy for our feet. I'm going to give you, midway through this, some foot or toe yoga exercises that you could stretch out and do a lot more of. So stick around, but we'll make this mostly super indulgent and restorative. So start by just activating each toe. So this is my right foot, and I'm grabbing each toe, working from my pinky, rolling the toe, putting pressure between my thumb and my index and my middle finger. Just rolling and awakening. And as I'm doing that, I'm visualizing my toe. I'm breathing with the toe. You won't be talking like I am to a camera, so you can really start to breathe like an ujjayi breath and really focus in through your nose, out through your mouth, a diaphragmatic breath. As you're really awakening each toe. Okay? And then we're going to actually hold hands or shake hands with our toes and our fingers. And you'll start with your pinky finger and putting that right between your pinky toe. And then move up your ring, your middle, your index. And at first, this may be really hard to do. So you can see right now I'm kind of up to my first knuckle. Eventually, you'll be able to really get all the way, webbing of your fingers to webbing of your toes. You can see mine stretch. I've been doing this a long time. Don't expect to get here. You don't want tearing pain. You don't want stabbing pain. You want like good pain, like sensation, because perhaps your toes are atrophied because they've been pent up in shoes for 5, 10, 20 years, you know, however old you are, 40 years, 50 years. So we're gonna start to wake up all those little synergistic muscles and all those little joints and tendons that make up this very complex foot. That when we hunted and gathered and ran barefoot and there were rocks and pebbles and grass and dirt, all of that would contour to the ground, but now inside of shoes that doesn't really happen. So your feet get really sore because they get underused, and when you do unexpectedly use them in certain ways, it can really be painful, and that pain can stick around. So once we've got these fingers in between our toes, hopefully by now you were able to figure out some version of this, you're gonna squeeze. Squeeze your fingers and then squeeze your toes. Squeeze your fingers and then your toes. And that may be a little off-putting. You might go, oh, ow, because you haven't felt that sensation before. And you're just gonna alternate doing that. Maybe 10 times each. And then we're gonna push our fingers apart, pulling our toes apart, and then squeeze our toes. Pull our fingers, squeeze our toes. Pull our fingers, squeeze our toes. Maybe do that 10 times. And then we'll just go back to squeezing, squeezing. So maybe 10 more times. So that's perhaps 30 times total. 10, 10, and 10. Okay? And now we're gonna stop for a minute and just feel the difference from our right foot to our left foot. And it's amazing because I do this a lot, and wow, does my right foot feel a lot better than my left. Like it's like way more alive, and I have way more dexterity in it. Okay, we're now gonna move and do that same process on the left foot. Starting by rolling the pinky toe between our thumb and index finger, our thumb, index, and ring finger, and then moving up to the second toe. Really putting a good amount of pressure, really waking up the toes and the feet, and really connecting mindfully to your toes and your feet. Feels really good. Try to not rush through it and really kind of be equal and balanced on each foot. So once you've done that, take your fingers, and first, of course, pinky, and then ring, middle, and then index. And like I said, for you, when you first start, you may be way up here towards your tips of your fingers, but eventually you want to get webbing to webbing and really get into your foot. Really get in there. And then squeeze. Squeeze the fingers, and then squeeze the toes. Squeeze the fingers, and maybe a little a little uncomfortable, but that's okay. And then squeeze the toes. Squeeze the fingers, squeeze the toes. And we can do that 10 times each. And then, after you've gone through however many reps you did on your right foot, you do on your left foot, and then spread the fingers, squeeze the toes. Spread the fingers, squeeze the toes. And do that about 10 times. Whatever you did on the right, do that on the left. And then, squeeze the fingers, squeeze the toes. Squeeze the fingers, squeeze the toes. And maybe another 10 times. So you're up to 30 reps so far on each foot. And then assess. And see how good and how much movement and how you're able to really start to move your fingers and your toes separately. Okay? Now we're gonna go back to the right foot. And I love that my right foot is a little bit sunburnt right now. I missed sunblock there. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back to, and we can do this a couple different ways. I'm gonna go back to putting my fingers between my toes, and I'm gonna really grip on the foot. And I might even bring this foot up and hold stable the ankle, because I'm not doing an ankle exercise. Your ankles are already very mobile. I could set it down on the pillow like the Zafu here, or maybe you don't have a Zafu, maybe you've got blocks, or maybe just even your leg. You could even take and put the ankle on the leg itself, just like this. So my ankle is kind of grounded on my thigh, and then I'm putting the fingers between the foot. I'm getting a good grip, and I'm pushing the root mount of my thumb against the root mount of my big toe, while I'm pulling with my left pinky, while I'm gripped, against the root mount of the pinky toe. And so I'm getting a twist. And really the mobility, the twist here is in the arch of my foot. It's not my ankle. My ankle gets a lot of movement. Your ankle gets a lot of movement, even in shoes, but your foot doesn't. And then I'm just gonna go back and forth. And you can do that 10 times. Each time going a little bit further. You're not looking to create pain, you're not looking to overextend, you're just waking everything up, creating mobility, fluidity, fresh circulation. So maybe do that 10 times on that foot. Feel the difference, and they feel different. This one, it feels like a hand. It's so alive right now. And then you're gonna take that left foot and do the same thing. So I'm gonna ground my ankle on my thigh, thread those fingers, get that really good grip, and again, look at that. Oh, it's so good. And your feet are different, right? We live asymmetrical lives, so one foot may be a lot more sore than the other foot. Remember, it's not about ankle movement, this is about foot movement. Maybe do that about 10 times. Now, this is an interesting part because I'm not going to go through a lot of these exercises because this is more for restorative purposes, the foot yoga and toe yoga that I'm teaching you today. But if you're really starting to try to activate your toes and your feet and get more movement and dexterity, so a few things you can do. You can start by moving your toes, the big toes, separate of the rest of the toes. So I lay the 4 toes down and then the big toes, and you can cheat. So say, like, you could see that I'm doing this where I put my 4 toes down and then my big toe and lift my 4 toes up. But say you're having a hard time doing that, you can physically push your toe down and lift the 4 toes up. You can physically push the 4 toes down and lift your big toe up. You can work towards bringing the pinky toe down first and then working through the toes all the way to your big toe. Also trying to lift them all up, separate them, and bring them down. So you can see I get a little bit of gap there. For a lot of people, they might all just move in unison, and that's normal. And so over time, you're gonna learn to move them separately, which will be very helpful in balance postures in yoga. Just like that. Remember, you can use your, if it's like too difficult, you go, oh, put your big toe down, and then put your other 4 toes down. if you're not able to do them independently like I'm doing. Totally fine as well. Eventually you go through an entire kind of wave with your toes. You can also do things like bringing your big toes together and apart without moving your ankles or your whole foot. That's another good one. All of this movement and all of this sync kind of awakening of your feet and your toes is really going to help you. Some of you, if you see, like when I'm teaching yoga, I may stand and teach a class in tree pose. And you're like, how are you still standing in tree pose 5 minutes later? And a lot of that starts right there with the foundation, with your foot. Another thing you can do is really work on the arch of the foot, so I can really arch like I'm going through cat-cow. So I'm arching up my foot, bringing my toes down, I can hold that, and then like a cow, I'm opening those toes and letting the arch drop out. Just like that. Breathing in and out. You could breathe it. You wouldn't be talking while you're doing this. Breathe. Ujjayi breath. So breathing in when you open, out when you close. And really connecting the breath to the toe movement. And maybe do that 10 times on each foot. But remember, I'm not trying to create cramps in my feet. I'm trying to do the opposite. So there's different times when you do different things. For instance, going through that entire foot stretch, toe yoga sequence, maybe before yoga, and you'll really have phenomenally awake, energized, vibrant feet for balance poses and just your entire class in general. You know, every standing pose, there's a balance going on. Once you're done doing all of that, you can just, and I'll get off these blocks to kind of show you, you can just take your foot out and just stretch it out and just let it go. Take your other foot out and just stretch it out and let it go. Just like that. And then maybe sit in Tarasana or Baddha Konasana and flip your feet up and massage them. So just really, I'm starting with my thumbs and I'm going right towards the base of where my heel connects to my arch. And I'm just putting pressure. It feels so good. And just massaging and loving your feet. Especially good if you've got blood sugar issues, circulation issues, heart issues. This is all really good to stimulate. Really good for your health. Just give yourself a nice massage. Take time. I mean, this is a quick video, but spend a half hour on your feet. Maybe spend an hour. Massage the other foot. Feels really good. So good. You can even go on all fours and tap your feet. Maybe even after doing all that footwork, take your toes and tuck them under the root mounts and really stretch into the feet as well. Oh, it feels so good. So good. A good way to end everything after you've really worked with your feet. Thank you guys so much. Hopefully you check out my other videos. Stay curious. Be wonderful.